The crisis as it is ongoing, no doubt there will be more on that in the days to come. And if you are just joining us, the breaking news that FIFA's Ethics Committee is currently meeting to discuss whether to suspend the FIFA President Sepp Blatter and also the UEFA President Michel Platini. We'll return to football in a moment on Sport Today as the qualifying for the 2018 World Cup gets underway today in Africa. But before they kick off at London's Olympic Stadium in the Rugby World Cup, we wanted to talk a little about South Africa, who, despite being on the end of the biggest shock in the tournament's history last month, are now about to make the quarter-finals, or at least they will if they beat the USA. Our Rugby Union reporter Chris Jones is part of the BBC commentary team for the game, and he told me the Springboks have recovered impressively after losing their opening match to Japan.
It would have been the most chastening 48 hours for those South African players. The media reaction back in South Africa was extremely hostile. Their coach, Heineke Meyer, it's an incredibly difficult position, the South African Rugby Union head coach, in the first place, when you've lost to a perceived minnow of world rugby, or not perhaps a minnow, but a tier 2, tier 3 nation like Japan. Then the scrutiny just becomes incredible. So they managed to somehow pull together around that. And then I remember going to Villa Park and watching them play Samoa in a game that was going to define their World Cup. Lose then, and the wheels would have fallen off, but a win and they're back on track. That's exactly what happened. They put 40 points on Samoa and were outstanding. Almost going back to basics a little bit. Meyer said we're now playing traditional South African rugby, big forward pack, punching holes in the opposition defence and the backs finishing out wide. That's what they did against Samoa, and they kicked that on against Scotland. So those memories of Japan, the demons perhaps not quite yet exercised, but certainly another win against the States today, and they're in the quarter-finals, top of the group, and that defeat will be a distant memory.
I remember him having to apologise to the nation for the defeat against Japan, and perhaps understandably, Chris, Heineke Meyer is hoping the Springboks don't make the same mistake twice against the USA later.
We do have respect for America, or the USA. We've learned as well. There's no easy games here, so it's going to be a big call for these guys, because it's a 3-day turnaround, or 4 days, depends how you see it, and so it's going to be strain on their bodies, but it's the same for most of the teams, and hopefully they won't tire, but it's tough on them because the previous 2 games was also very, very tough. So I just thought we have to set a standard, but we have to play to our strengths, keep our feet on the ground and build the innings.
So the South Africa coach is taking the USA seriously, understandably so, Chris, and actually that's reflected in the team news as well. They've made fewer changes than the USA have.
Oh, absolutely. I imagine before the tournament, if Meyer was planning, he would have perhaps used this midweek fixture as a way just to slightly rotate the squad. But it's their final pool game, South Africa, and then after this they have a long, long break, even though they do have had a short turnaround from Saturday when they played Scotland. So I think ideally he would have wanted